You have to observe nature and realize that the way spinach grows in Botswana and the way that spinach grows in South Africa and the way spinach grows in England, very different in taste. Even our meat, the way the beef is in Botswana and the way the beef is in South Africa and the way the beef is in China, very different because of the soil. Have you ever wondered why so many young African people feel like failures? Even though if we were to look at things from a different lens, we're actually doing very well in our own world. Well, that's because as Africans, a lot of us, we've been taught to dream through the lens of somebody else's eye. You know, you look at life and you assess reality and you create your dreams influenced by somebody else's perception or somebody else's lens of what is meant to be phenomenal and great. So you basically have dreams that don't fit the soil of where you come from. My name is Belsabo. I'm of Belsabo Consultants, and over here we love all things wellness, actualization. We want to become the best versions of ourselves, and we have conversations that aid you on that path and aid ourselves too, because mind you, this is a reflection for us, you know. And I wanted to have this conversation today because something very tragic happened. One of people that I've come across, I would say they were a friend loosely, but somebody that I've really come across, a deep talent, a high talent in Africa, ended up going through like a spiritual psychosis. And in the spiritual psychosis, when they were sharing their viewpoints, well, it's, mind you, guys, I'm just diagnosing this loosely that it's a spiritual psychosis from what I saw myself. But that's not to say that was actually what was taking place. But when you listen, because this meltdown was also taking place online, and when you listen to what they were saying, they talked about how when people used to see his talent, they would make reference to people outside of our reality, our environment, you know, the Beyoncés, the Michael Jackson, the princes of the world, to say, you know, you remind me of Prince, you know, you remind me of Michael Jackson. And in the video, this particular person that I'm speaking about said, do you know you put a curse upon my life? And people are just looking at it like, oh my God, they're going crazy. But I felt so much power and so much depth in what he shared that sometimes we project onto people dreams that don't fit their cultural environment and identity. I mean, Prince and Michael Jackson all the way in America, living their own lives and being aided by the environment to reach that star power. So when you take that identity and you project it onto another person who's just living here in Botswana, in Gabani, in Tamaga, and that person is also exposed to that reality, it ends up creating a dissonance. We end up desiring things that we can't attain. You know, it creates what I would like to term aspirational dissonance. What you aspire for and what you can have access to and create don't meet, right? And that's why I wanted to have a conversation here today, and I made notes here to say, you know, many young African people grow up scrolling through lives shaped by Hollywood, American rap culture, European luxury lifestyle, Asian business models. And these images form a part of our subconscious programming. And suddenly, to us, success ends up looking like a penthouse in New York, a Silicon Valley startup, a Ferrari in Dubai. And then the tragedy is what? That you're in Gaborone, you're in Nairobi, you're in Lagos, you are in Accra. that becomes a tragedy, because you end up comparing your environment to these environments and then seeing the gaps of what your environment doesn't have. And you end up not having the ability to maximize the opportunities around you because you're constantly feeling inadequate because your life doesn't match the foreign blueprint that you saw. And this dissonance leads to anxiety, to depression, to mental paralysis, where you are even unable to do anything for your life. And for as long as if you're always going to use that foreign blueprint that doesn't fit your environment, there's always going to be that separation in your thinking, in your feeling, and in what you're able to create. So there's so much power to the subconscious mind. It really runs your daily decisions. It's the autopilot of your life. So you can't autopilot yourself for a foreign reality while you are living in this reality. It doesn't work. If your subconscious mind is filled with all these foreign images, you're going to forever live in conflict with your environment. And today, normally I would talk and directly speak and flow. But today I'm making sure that I make reference to my notes because I see that people are losing their minds because of this thing. And we're unable to diagnose it as a society because we're unable to really fully analyze what is going on here. Aspirational dissonance. And right now, today in this video, I want to make sure that people are living in harmony with their environment and not in conflict with their environment because what they aspire for does not match the integrity of what can be offered by the environment in order for them to grow and get into the next level. So we need to really deeply reset the subconscious mind by feeding it visions that are rooted in our reality, in our culture, and the different possibilities that we can get from our environment. Not the possibilities of foreign environments, the possibilities of our environments. Honestly, it is time because this has become a sickness that is invisible and people can't even see. And a lot of the times people, they mean well. They say it as a compliment. People have come to me and be like, oh my God, you remind me so much of Rihanna. Thank you very much. But I am Belsabo Ame. And the quest that I'm on is an African one. It's to accelerate people. It's to heal people into a very aligned subconscious mind that feeds what they're here to do in this world and the identities that they live in. So now, what must we do? What must we do now that we've seen that there's an aspirational dissonance that creates conflict between ourselves and our environment? Reset. We must reset. And why must we reset? There's a deep energy drain that's taken place. You're dreaming outside your reality. It creates like constant dissatisfaction, which ends up killing your productivity. You're constantly just so dissatisfied. You don't complete tasks. You don't complete projects. You don't stick to the things that are really aligned with you and your environment because that becomes a state of habitual existence. You stay in a state of habitual existence that is unable to finish tasks, that is unable to assimilate in its environment. So how are you going to be productive? And then the second reason why we must reset is that it becomes lost identity. Lost identity. That's the pandemic that has gotten us as a collective conscious of Africa to the state that we're at. So now we need to reclaim our identity because we've become strangers to ourselves, to our culture, and to our reality. You are being influenced by a culture that is foreign from your own cultural identity. Yo, what's up, my nigga? What's up? American rap culture. Do we even talk like that in our environment? I'm not trying to be funny here, but we really need to think about this because you should not become a stranger to yourself and your culture. And I bet you, with all these TikTok children, with all these Instagram children, a lot of us are strangers to ourselves and our culture because we're always scrolling and interacting with foreign blueprints, foreign models that then we don't even assume the posture of our own identity. Who are we? If we are Botswana in Botswana, what does that mean about our identity? And what does that mean in relation to our dreams? And how do we connect our authentic identities to authentic dreams? Better check your dream, because you might be dreaming, but that dream might be so inauthentic to what is intended for your lives. So have the humility to reset. Have the humility to reclaim identity, even if it doesn't fit. Because a lot of people, being African is not, it's not trendy. You know, people look at me and they're like, oh, you're so African, you know, Africa mama. And there isn't a sense of celebration or aspiration to it. Somebody comes in with some weave and, you know, they look a certain way, which I used to do as well. And I used to get a lot of connection or respect or admiration from people. And now I've reclaimed my identity, because I realized that in order for me to really achieve what I aspire for and really know what my dreams are and receive them, I receive them through my identity. Therefore, I must reclaim it and I must be it. And then the last reason why you must reset is stolen destiny, guys. A stolen destiny. Instead of building the Africa that needs you, you spend life chasing America or Europe that doesn't even notice you. Americans don't care about you. Europeans don't care about you. Africans, we care about you. Do you hear what I'm saying? Botswana, we care about you. So you'll be busy not building the Africa that needs you, but you're busy chasing America and Europe that doesn't even notice you. One bit. At all. At all. So we need to really take the destinies that is ours. We need to fetch our own water. Nobody can fetch your own water. Ividoya. You guys are making me work when I'm sick, so you better listen to what I'm saying. Because my voice is affected, I should be quiet right now. So how do we reset? You know, now that we've talked about the importance of resetting, how do we reset? It all starts with awareness. You need to ask yourself, whose dream am I chasing? Is it mine or something that was sold to me? But and I myself have had to sit with that. You know, I am very ambitious. You know, I've also lived in the first world. I've been exposed to these realities. And when I started my business model in beauty, I borrowed from these foreign models and then I tried to enact it in my environment. And at a point, I saw the dissonance of the business models that I was trying to create, the value proposition that I was trying to give with my environment. And I had to shift fast. I had to reset myself. I had to build my awareness and ask myself that, whose dream am I chasing here? Is it Belle's? Is it Rihanna's? Is it Oprah's? Whose dream? And then after we build our awareness about the dream and whose dream we're chasing, we highly need to detox. We need to detox. We need to reduce our overexposure to foreign media, you know, that tells us success only exists in a particular way. And mind you, that success is from a different soil than the soil of ourselves. You have to observe nature. Honestly, let me pause you here. You have to observe nature and realize that the way spinach grows in Botswana and the way that spinach grows in South Africa and the way spinach grows in England, very different in taste. Even our meat, the way the beef is in Botswana and the way the beef is in South Africa and the way the beef is in China, very different because of the soil, right? And as human beings, we eat food. If I am in Botswana, I eat food that grows from the soil of my environment. That means also I am the child of that environment. I am the child of that soil. I get fed by that soil. And food and meat, how it grows in different types of soil is different. So if that's the way in nature, why do we think as human beings, as animals as we are, as a part of nature that we are, do we think we're exempt from these, you know, nature laws that we're being fed by the soil of where you are at. So your dreams must meet the soil of where you're at. And you must define success according to the soil of your reality. So detox all these foreign concepts. After you've built your awareness, you've detoxed, you need to find your local mirrors. My best friend and also co-host to the Sapiosexual Platter, Shatangi Somalekai, drew my attention to a sweet message that she got from a young girl on LinkedIn. And this girl said something to the effect of, "Thank you so much for showing me that a certain reality that I aspire for is possible. I see two women, myself and Shatangi, people from my environment who are starting a podcast, something that I've always wanted to do about issues that also interest me. And I thought it was a far-fetched dream, and I see you guys doing it. And now I can see that it's a point of reality and possibility for me." What she did was very powerful because she did what? She found a local mirror. She found a local mirror in the sense that she found people who mirror back to her what she can achieve and what the possibilities are. And you have to do that. You have to feed your mind with African excellence. You have to find authors, business people, people who've written books, innovators, creators, leaders who've built different things in your environment, and then use them as a mirror of excellence, because they were able to use things within your environment to build themselves. So you'd be trying to aspire for Oprah, which is great. But do you understand that America has got 100 years mileage on the rest of the world when it comes to production, when it comes to media? That's why we're so tuned into the media, because they had a head start. So then you're wanting to aspire for an Oprah. Oprah who had a head start because of the environment that she was at. Oprah who was able to tap into a gap because Black people couldn't tap into that gap at the time. So she pioneered in some way. Now it's like you've got so many Black people playing in media, so many women. And then it's just like when Oprah started, that wasn't the case. The variables were different. The environment was different. So also you need to take account of yourself. And then what is the fourth? And I wrote it here. Visualization. You have to train your mind to see the possibilities that can fit into your environment. You know, picture yourself thriving where you are, building businesses, art and communities that matter in your environment, that matter in Botswana, in Kenya, in Nigeria. Honestly, I'm talking a lot today, but it's necessary. And then afterwards, you have to affirm and align with your environment. You have to speak positivity into your environment. You know, you have to speak words of honor into your environment. My reality is fertile. My land is enough. I create value here. And once you assume that posture and you affirm it every single day, very soon you'll see opportunities coming up from that soil that you once said, oh, it's, you know, it's infertile, it's dry. Speak into it. And then the last one is just action. Action, action, action. Let's build step by step. Don't wait for imported conditions to align before starting. So I'm going to call to the youth, you know, to say that Africa doesn't need another copy of America. Africa needs the authentic version of you. Botswana needs the authentic version of you. Nairobi, Kenya needs the authentic version of you. Nigeria needs the authentic version of you. Not the mentally colonized version of you. You know, the land where you're born is not a curse, it's your assignment. If you see the problems with it, you see those problems because you must resolve them. You must provide solutions to them, you know. So honestly, guys, the real depression comes when you abandon your reality for somebody's highlight reel. So we need to just reset our subconscious mind as an act of freedom. It's how we escape mental colonization. If you know me, you know that I'm very passionate about Africa. If you know me, you know that I've gone to the depths of studying law and international development and studying all these concepts and infusing them with personal development, with spirituality, with an awareness that comes from an authentic African person like myself. And I download information from the higher realm using my model here. And I've really fine-tuned myself and decluttered my system so that I can allow for a lot to come in. And as it comes in, I'm coming here to share with you because I realize that we are on a quest. We should arrive to a promised land of the superhuman era where every single African realizes their power and they have a place in the world, and the world is very accepting of us because the world needs Africa in its power, in its deep authenticity, and only you can build that Africa. I hope that you've heard me in the depth of what I've said and you move forward. Whether you're African, whether you're American, whether you're European, basically just take the message of what I'm saying, which is let's move with authenticity and let's not have aspirational dissonance where the things that we aspire for don't fit our environment and our soil. I'm Belsabo Ame. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, share with your people, and leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much. Bye.